welcome back for another garden tip with Molly at Botanica. Today we are going to talk about bagworms and getting ahead of them before they cause damage to your evergreen trees. So right now, May to June is when bagworms start to emerge, and they're a caterpillar that come from these little bags, which is what they're named for. And these are probably from last year, and the eggs will hatch from here, and then the little tiny caterpillars will crawl out of those bags and start to feed on your evergreen trees. Mainly they affect junipers like what we've got here behind me and arborvitae trees, but they can also affect other broadleaf trees and shrubs. But you want to make sure you start scouting now because they're starting to hatch. And the peak emergence is usually around when catalpa trees start to bloom. So keep an eye out for that. Just inspect your evergreen trees and start to look to see if you see little tiny caterpillars starting to feed. So what you want to look for is them crawling around. They're in their crawler stage. So they're a worm, and as they feed, they get bigger and grow, and they collect the little pieces of foliage and they spin silk to create their bags. So they'll start to camouflage themselves. So to control them, you can, if you have a small evergreen, that wouldn't take too long. You can just hand pick them off if you notice them. Otherwise, you're going to need to spray. A couple of options to use to spray would be something called BT, which is a bacteria that the caterpillars eat, and then as they ingest it, it can kill them. And then another thing would be spinosad, which works the same way. These are the best choices for you to spray because they are organic and they're not as harmful to other beneficial insects, which you may want to look out for. Other than that, there's a lot of different broad spectrum chemicals that you can use. So if you have any questions about what you can use, just go to your local garden retailer and they can help you out, or call your extension office. But make sure that you spray them before they completely get covered in their bags. Otherwise, this bag acts as a protective layer and the chemical will do nothing. So that's usually about by August. What you want to do is make sure that you spray them before they fully form their bag. So that's right about now and into later June. You'll still be okay. But otherwise, if you see damage like this where your foliage is just gone and otherwise it's turned orange on evergreen trees, then you're too late. But at the end of the season, you can pick off the bags that are fully formed, and you're protecting yourself for next season before the eggs hatch. So look out for them. They're a real pest here in Kansas because we've got a lot of junipers, and make sure that you stay ahead of the damage. And we'll see you next time for another garden tip with Molly.